So, 1, 2, 3, Test. Funktioniert. 1, 2, 3, Test. Schönen guten Abend zu unserer Bocas Party heute Abend hier im Unperfekthaus. Ich freue mich, dass ihr so zahlreich erschienen seid. Ja, Bocas, was ist das? Bocas, das ist das, was man in Spanien unter Tapas kennt. Das sind kleine Appetithäppchen, die zu Getränken gereicht werden. Getränke gibt es hier im Unperfekthaus. Die Appetithäppchen haben wir mitgebracht, aber wir wollen auch heute Abend ein bisschen Appetit machen auf eines der letzten Naturparadiese unserer Erde, nämlich Costa Rica. Und dazu fangen wir jetzt an mit einem Vortrag von meiner Lebenspartnerin Karla Martinez. Sie ist aus Costa Rica angereist und wird jetzt einen Vortrag erstmal allgemein ein bisschen über Costa Rica und dann, wo sie speziell herkommt, halten. Ungefähre Dauer 30 Minuten und der Vortrag wird stattfinden in Englisch. Alternativ könnten wir noch Spanisch anbieten. Aber wenn Fragen sind, wir können das nachher alles dann nochmal aufklären und dann auch ins Deutsche übersetzen. Ich übergebe jetzt erstmal an Karla Taylor.
Hi, good evening, everybody. How are you doing? Fine, thank you for being here. I'm here in order to give you a brief introduction in regards of Costa Rica. By the way, any of you have been in Costa Rica before? No? Oh, have you heard about Costa Rica? Yes? Do you know where Costa Rica is located? Of course, somebody said somewhere. Well, soon with our map, we will locate Costa Rica in the map, so you have also a very clear picture, or so you can picture where Costa Rica is located. Costa Rica is a very small country. We are a very small country located in Central America, so quite far away from here. Very small and very diverse, by the way. So when you heard about Costa Rica, you Google Costa Rica, it will tell you that Costa Rica is a very diverse country. So what diversity means? Diversity means variation of species. So when we look at this image here, it shows us a mountain in the background. Well, Costa Rica is known to have many volcanoes, or several volcanoes, and among 112 volcanic mountains that we host in this country, 5 of them are pretty active volcanoes. The one here in this image, it used to be one of the most active volcanoes in the world. For now, it's dormant. We don't know exactly when it will wake up again. A few weeks ago, it shows some activity, but well, we are looking forward to Arenal volcano to wake up. But this is also a great picture in order to show you what's the meaning of Costa Rica. Costa Rica, except for Francisco and Jessica, any of you, what Costa Rica sounds like, what it means to you, what that word, that phrase, Costa Rica. It's, any idea? It means rich coast. You see, rich coast, because in 1502, when Christopher Columbus landed in his 14-month voyage in Costa Rica, in the province of Limon, he looked around and he exclaimed and he said, you know, what a rich coast, que costa más rica. And that's where, you know, thanks to Christopher Columbus today, this little country is named Costa Rica. So here it shows all the greenery of our country. We have the Pacific and the Caribbean side. The Caribbean is unpredictable. It rains whenever it feels like to rain. If you said rain, probably it rains. You never know. And the Pacific side of the country is more seasonal. We have 6 months of rainy season and 6 months of dry season. So right now, by the way, we ended the rainy season, and it's pretty much the beginning of the dry season, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Okay, great. So here we are. Costa Rica is a very small country located in Central America, and we limit north with Nicaragua, south with Panama, east with the Caribbean, and west with the Pacific side. As I told you before, the Caribbean side of Costa Rica that comprises the northern eastern side and the southern part of Costa Rica that limits with Nicaragua. The northern side limits with, the southern part limits with Panama, and the northern side with Nicaragua. So we limit north with Nicaragua, as you can tell, several points of the country. You will be very close to the Nicaraguan border, but also if you go a little farther south, then you will find yourself very close to Panama, which is also a beautiful country as well. Now, on the Pacific side of the country, which is pretty much like 5 or 6 times larger than the Caribbean side, which is very rugged and irregular, as you can tell, with the presence of a few islands around, we have the province of Guanacaste that covers all the northern Pacific, which is very, very popular as a destination. And it was one of the very first places that has developed in tourism in the country. Then we also have the Central Pacific, which probably you have heard about Manuel Antonio National Park, which is a premier destination for Costa Rica and Jaco. And so that covers all the central part of the country. And then if we go a little farther down to the southern part, we will find Osa Peninsula that, according to National Geographic, it hosts 0.2% of the world diversity. So it's a place definitely to see, and our visitors that comes over to Osa Peninsula, which, by the way, we have a lot of Germans that come and explore this part of the country because it's very wild, very savage, and very pristine as well. But where the most of the Costa Ricans live, where the Ticos concentrate, and they're concentrated in this part of the country, which is the Central Valley, or the Central Plateau, which is the way we call it, where over 1 million Costa Ricans live, concentrated in this area. When you landed at the international airport, you will be landing here in Alajuela, and then probably you will be transferred to the capital city, which is San Jose, and Cartago, which is a little farther south, which used to be our old metropole, and since 1823, the capital was transferred to San Jose and then Heredia, which is known to be one of the best places to grow coffee, and where most of the concentration of coffee plantation in the Central Valley are still in the province of Heredia. So for those who love coffee, well, in all this area, we have coffee growing, and this is the beginning of the harvesting season, by the way. But then, where is Karla from? I'm from this side of the country. I was born and raised on the Caribbean side, so probably that's where this funny accent comes from. And the Caribbean, we have a small population of Afro-Costa Ricans who live there, and English, which is a Creole English, and I call that English with no rule of grammar. That is what's spoken in this part of the country. So altogether, Costa Rica is divided up politically in 7 provinces. Altogether, what we have here, a great destination, very small, 51,100 kilometers, but also very diverse. And hopefully one day you will be able, or you're looking forward to explore this tiny but diverse country. Pura Vida. Our topography is very mountainous and irregular, but it depends on where you go, and this is a very nice representation of it. The formation or the result of Costa Rica is Costa Rica is land of volcanoes. So more than 4 or 5 million years ago, we had tectonic movements and volcanic collisions that did subduction movement. We have the cocoa plates that did subduction movements over the Caribbean plate, and it uplift Costa Rica from the bottom of the sea, and it give the result to this land, which most of it has a lot of volcanic mountains. So for most of the country where you will be traveling, especially the Pacific side, the Central Valley as well, it will be very mountainous, very rugged, very regular. with the exception of the plains, which is called the northern plains in las llanuras de Santa Clara and llanuras de Tortuguero, that will be very, very flat. But as you can see, it's very, very green. As I mentioned before, the population is concentrated in the Central Valley of Costa Rica. So here, in this picture, this image tells us a little. All what you see is all the Central Valley. Some of the greens that you can still notice around are coffee plantations too. And in the coffee plantations, we have banana plants and plantains and eucalyptus and erythrinas and different kinds of trees in order for that plantation, for the area not to look just like a regular plantation, but also will attract an important number of pollinators to the plantation. Why we are ticos? In this room, we are 2 ticos sitting in this room. Chico, Francisco, my friend, and myself. And happens that when Costa Ricans, when we talk, we always add a lot of diminutives to our phrases. So for instance, if I say to, young man, what's your name please?
Max.
To Max. I can say to Max, Max, venga a mi casita para que se tome una tacita de cafecito bien recién chorreadito, calientico, con pintico recién hechito. You see, a lot of diminutives come there. So if we have a dog, we will say a dog, which is a little dog. We say el perrito. La macha, que machitica, ¿verdad? The house, que casita más pequeñitica. So we always add in a lot of diminutive there. So that's why we stand out among the world as ticos. So instead of saying Costa Ricans, I'm a tica, and Chico is also a tico. Pura Vida, hola. The people, Costa Ricans or ticos, we are very friendly people. We're very friendly, very genuine, very warm, very welcoming, and that's part of the beauty of the country. Our country stands out for its nature, but I have to say too, as a traveler, as a tour director, and a travel advisor, that I consider that one of the beauty of my country are the people. So if you as a traveler, driving around Costa Rica, in all of these little bumpy roads with potholes and so, with cliffs everywhere, and you feel that you get lost, don't be afraid. Just stop your car, or the driver will stop the bus, and he will ask for directions. And even though if you end up lost, because we are not the best ones to give out directions, people will always be willing to help you, to welcome you. And while you're traveling around and driving through the countrysides, people will be waving up at you and smiling with you. If you approach the people, they will give you that smile. And they will say, for instance, Jessica probably asked for a glass of wine. And they will respond, con gusto, you see. And Balta probably will walk into a town and run into a gentleman. And that gentleman will say, mucho gusto. You see, it's my pleasure to give Jessica a glass of water. And is with pleasure I meet in Balta too. So it's a very polite country, people are very friendly and so on. We love to party a lot also, so we always find excuses to celebrate. And the last year was a great excuse for us because we had the World Cup and Costa Rica done a good performance, by the way. So for a full month, we were in a full party. There was a lot of excuses and reasons why to celebrate. So well, we are known also as very happy, friendly, warm, and genuine people. Costa Rica has no army since 1948. we abolished the army, and this is one of the facts that we boast of, that not having an army. So instead of investing money in weapons and soldiers, we invest that money in healthcare and education. So over 28% of our national budget goes into education. We think, as same as many or all countries, that the best place for our students, for our children and youth, is to be in a classroom. So this picture basically represents September 15, that we have a big parade where we celebrate Independence Day. And among Costa Rica, this small country, you find a little spot in Costa Rica which is very special for me, and it's called Tortuguero. Tortuguero, the little Amazon of Central America. Tortuguero used to be called Tortuguero. I was raised and born there, and it's one of the destinations that stands out among Costa Rica and today among the world. I don't know if any one of you have been in the Amazon base, in any part of the Amazon, but if you haven't, well, you don't have to go that far. No, in Costa Rica you will find a place that is called Tortuguero, which is very unique, by the way. And what makes Tortuguero so unique is that we don't have roads there. It is a network of waterways that go and connect with the Caribbean Ocean. It has a very narrow strip of land, as you notice, that eventually will go into the ocean, and that's what makes that the fresh water comes and mixes with salt water, creating brackish water, allowing freshwater creatures to go in the ocean, and also saltwater creatures that will come into the fresh water as well. Very narrow strip, as you can notice, surrounded with a very lush and tropical rainforest. Also, a great nesting site for green sea turtles, and we host 4 different kinds of sea turtles that comes to Tortuguero, and Tortuguero is the most important nesting site for a very important population of green sea turtle. Other than the green sea turtle, we have also leatherback turtles, which are the giant marine sea turtles, the biggest one in the world. We also have hawksbill. We have also loggerheads, rarely, and green sea turtles as well. Tortuguero was not always populated. Back in 1934, before that, there was no one living in Tortuguero until a gentleman that his name was Walter Martinez. He lived one day the little island of San Andres, Colombia, with the aim of finding a new place to be his home. And then he moved to this little isolated and remote town in the northeastern side of Costa Rica, which used to be called Tortuguero, and today is called Tortuguero. So I call myself, or I see myself, as a grandchild of Tortuguero, because I'm 4th generation from Walter Martinez, who used to be my great-grandfather. So he came with 7 of his children. My grandmother, Sibela, was one of them. And this is how the houses or the little huts used to look in Tortuguero. And all of these kids, some of them my siblings, brothers and sisters, but also kids of the first families that were imported to Tortuguero after in the 1940s in order to be part of the labor for lumber companies that has established in the region. How I became a parataxonomist. What is a parataxonomist? Have you heard about that parataxonomist? You normally heard about biologists and there is so many different kind of careers and professions, but parataxonomist. I'm a parataxonomist Prior to being a naturalist, I was a protaxonomist. And when you Google Costa Rica, it says that Costa Rica hosts 5% of the world biodiversity. So how can we tell? How in this world we can count 5% of the world biodiversity? Happens that back in the early 1990s, there were a group of biologists, students also, and people from different parts of the rural areas of Costa Rica who were hired in order to be part of this big inventory. In Costa Rica, conservation is a big movement, it's something very important, it's our main course, I think. And the protection of the natural resources becomes something extremely important. So, but besides protecting the forest, we needed to know what we have in those forests. So, a group of protaxonomists, they were trained in order to go in the wilderness, the most savage areas and remote areas, national parks and biological stations of this little country, in order to go and catalog and to collect and to do all kind of identification, scientific identification. So a protaxonomist is the person, the scientist that does all the classification of the species. So, for example, we all here, even though that Chico's from Costa Rica, myself too, most of you or all of you are Germans, but we all are Homo sapiens, you see? So every tree has a scientific name, whether it's a scientific family, a genus, and a species, you see? The tiniest fly, the tiniest ant, the spider, the fledermaus, and all of these creatures that you can find in the tropical forests of Costa Rica has a scientific name. So we were the people that went in the forest collecting, gathering, identifying, and giving a scientific name and sending all the information, processing it, and sending it out to all the world-famous scientists around the world in order for them to be able to discover all the new species in the country. We know that every day, 1 to 2 new species are discovered in Costa Rica. So that's what is a protaxonomist. I was part of this crowd, and I'm the person all the way in the back there. So from a protaxonomist, after working for 8 years in the wilderness, wandering around as a roamer, with my horse, with all my equipment, dirty, sweaty, with my rubber boots and my machete on my side, attempting to be bitten by snakes, scorpion, and ants. Then later on, I become a naturalist. 8 years was a great time in order to live in the forest, but I needed also the human's exposition. My family, especially my mother, always said to me, "You look like anything except as a human. You can look like a like an ant, like a horsefly, like a dung beetle, like anything, but he doesn't look as a human." So, I wonder. And I said, after several accidents that I had on site in the field, I said, well, maybe it's a good time for me to make a change in my life. And then I wonder, so what can I do after all this time living in the forest? Will I be able to adapt myself again in civilization, in a modern world? Was a task, was a risk. But, well, then I updated myself and I heard about tourism. I heard about all of these people that were visiting Costa Rica in order to see the national parks and all the wilderness and learn about the biodiversity. And I said, this fits with me. I probably am capable in order to do that. So after going and doing research and exploring and asking, well, I learned that I had a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the information, but I didn't have exactly all the ability in order to interact with people. So I had to go and train myself in order to have this human connection. And then, well, I decided and I become a naturalist. And that's what I have been doing since 17 years now. So if you come to Costa Rica, if you visit Costa Rica, the best way to see the inside of the country is having a guide. If you go to Monteverde, you need a guide. If you go to Tortuguero, definitely you need a guide. And in order to have excellent travel experience and unique experiences too, you will need a guide. And in order to see all the monkeys and the sloths and the animals that Costa Rica has to offer, the caimans and crocodiles and so on, to go and explore the waterways of Tortuguero National Park in a canoe, which Chico can take you around, or myself as well, you need a guide to go with you. You know, by yourself, you probably see a lot of green around. You will see the giant trees, but who knows if you'll be able to find that sloth that will be hidden among all that vegetation. So I have been working as a naturalist through all Costa Rica, leading groups of people from all over the world. Germans are one of the group of people that we work with very often. Dutch, North Americans, Canadians, Asians, and so on. And well, these two pictures tells you a little about my job. I don't dress like this regularly. It's basically that's the way how myself will be looking in my environment. Today, after being a parotaxonomist and a naturalist, then I wanted to step on and go a little farther. And after putting together all this knowledge and information of more than 17 years, my aim today, my goal today, is to be able to advise people to tell you which are the best sites or hidden wonders that you can go, which hotel, what destination, what activities, based on what you're looking for, based on what you would like to have as an experience, and also based on how much would you like to invest in a travel like this. So today, besides working as a naturalist and a tour director around Costa Rica, part of my time I also invested in orienting and leading people as a travel advisor. So hopefully, one day you would like to visit our country and you would like to hear from us. So I will be more than happy, as we said in Costa Rica, will be Pura Vida, in order to advise you to those hidden wonders that we host in this little tiny country. We are the Pura Vida people. Have you heard about Pura Vida? P-U-R-A-V-I-D-A. Pura Vida stands out for pure life, for excellent, awesome, wonderful. I like it, I love it, fantastic. That's what Pura Vida means, you see? So in Costa Rica, not to be too formal, we won't say, hi, how are you doing? Hello, good morning, good evening. How did you wake up this morning? So we will just run into each other, as it happens quite often in Tortuguero with Chico and myself, and I will say, okay, Pura Vida, Chico, Pura Vida. How was your dinner? Was Pura Vida. How was your trip to Germany? Was Pura Vida. Jessica, how was Tortuguero? Pura Vida. So everything, the food, the people, the meal, the weather, the bus, the road, if you like it all, everything stands out for Pura Vida. If you just forget the word, the phrase Pura Vida, and you can do this, thumbs up, that is universal, and it stands out for Pura Vida too. So beside, according to National Geographic, we stand out to be one of the happiest people among the world. I don't know if we are the happiest among the world, but what I can really stand out and say that Costa Rica is a real Pura Vida country. We have nature, we have great coffee, we have lovely weather, beautiful national parks, great surroundings, people are very friendly, very colorful, very diverse, and because that and more on, that's the reason why we are Pura Vida. By the way, these two pictures represent a little of the Afro-Caribbean culture here, and also this is the former president of Costa Rica, Luis Guillermo. When you visit Costa Rica, you basically go because of nature. So we have a whole variety of wildlife that you can see in different parts of the country, and the national parks and all the different ecosystems and microclimates that Costa Rica hosts. We have here sloths. We have a jaguar that is just probably killed this leatherback turtle, and all of these vultures that having a great party, a Bocas party too, having little pics here and there of the leatherback turtle. We also have river turtles, which is part of the wildlife that you're able to view in a canoe trip in Tortuguero National Park, and a white-faced capuchin monkey, which are considered to be one of the most smart and intelligent primates that you will find in the world. And well, that's one of the species that we also host in these tropical rainforests and also tropical forests of Costa Rica. Tourism is our main industry so far. We are getting very close to 3 million of visitors every year. 56% of our visitors are North Americans, United States and Canada, but we have a very important number of Germans, people from France, the Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, Sweden as well. Scandinavian countries are joining us as well. And Asia is starting to come, a few people from South America, Central America as well. So we have different activities, whitewater rafting, rappelling, zip line, ATVs, well, a whole myriad of different kinds of adventurous activities. And for those nature lovers too, we have a little of everything in order to offer. So this image shows one of the rivers in Costa Rica that is called Sarapiquí, where we was doing whitewater rafting. And well, that's a very small insight of my little country, and if by chance you have interest of more information, we will really appreciate you sharing with us your information, like emails, if you would like to continue receiving information of the country. And thank you very much. And as we said in Costa Rica, Pura Vida. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time.
So, ja, vielen Dank, Karla, das war super. Ja, wir haben nicht nur viele Informationen über Costa Rica, sondern wir haben auch was zu essen mitgebracht. Und zwar haben wir den ganzen Tag in der Küche gestanden und euch ein paar leckere Snacks zubereitet. Und die wollen wir euch jetzt gerne präsentieren.
Dazu vielleicht ein bisschen Musik.
Se fue, ya no preguntes por ella, si te
morning and part of the afternoon, Olaf and I, we spent a great amount of time in order to prepare the bocas. If you have been in Spain, you probably heard about tapas. In Costa Rica, we call it bocas. So we serve bocas when we have a group of friends or visitors that come to our home. So we will prepare all of these little appetizers. And if you go to a bar in Costa Rica with a beer or a shot of rum, you will have also in some bars a boca. So we also wanted to bring to you some bocas, which is traditional recipes, Costa Rican traditional recipe, with a lot of rice, with a lot of beans, a lot of fresh veggies, a lot of salads, but also pork and meat and fish and so on. I just couldn't prepare all the bocas and all the different recipes that we serve in Costa Rica, but something very representative of our country, and also a few other recipes of, personal recipes that we share with you. We have the salsa lisano, which is something that everybody that goes to Costa Rica, they either bring it back, import it to wherever they're from, because it's a very unique sauce. It comes from a family that they invented this recipe, and it becomes very popular and famous country-wise. So in every supermarket, grocery, and even in the duty-free in Costa Rica International Airport, you will find the salsa lisano. So it's something that you can add to the different recipes that you have around. We have a guacamole, which is in the glass one, yes, and guacamole is something that we eat in all America. Central America, Latin America, is just not Costa Rica. Then in the little blue one, the second one, is a picadillo. And a picadillo is prepared with different kinds of vegetables. In this case, it's green beans with minced meat and different kind of vegetables like garlic and onions and celery and so on. And then we have little chips because there is a particular recipe that is called chifrijo, and it's very Costa Rican. And the chifrijo, you can serve it, is basically a base of beans with a base also of those chips, some tomato salad, which is on the other side, and then over it you will add some pork rinds. So we have pork rinds in one of those containers, and we also have there some fish. We normally, wherever we go, we like to have seafood because of the two coasts, the influence of the two coasts. So, some kind of a fresh fish, marinated with very natural ingredients as well, and rice and beans, because the base of our diet is based on grains. So going to Costa Rica and not having rice and beans, arroz y frijoles, or frijoles con arroz, is like not being in Costa Rica. So it's a very small representation of our diet and our recipes. So hopefully you enjoy it.
So please help yourself. Agarra con frijoles o el rice and beans, ¿sí? O el rice and beans, ¿verdad? Ah, bueno.
Ja,